Just so you know, we have a black Ford Fusion, 42991, that needs to pull up into the parking space. It's blocking the entrance. Our parking is so interesting when in this parking lot, when you pull up, if you don't pull up all the way, boy, it can be a journey of getting in and out. So if you have a black Ford Fusion, I'd invite you to pull up. All right.
Push it out of the way.
Yes. And good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
We are,
Are we good? Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to start.
You want to start it? Good morning, everybody. So we're going to sing "We Come Together." Yes, we are. Take a look at the person next to you. God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voices and read after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and read after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. 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 In the name of love. We come together. 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 In the name of love.
thank you, thank you. And I want to tell you, I am so grateful. They truly have come together in the name of love. As we gather this morning and we welcome you to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, both here in this space and around the globe. For all of you who are listening to us virtually, we recognize that we come together and it's a consciousness. It's a consciousness of pure potentiality and possibility, and the recognition that what we desire, a world of peace, a world of honoring every being, a world of inclusion and understanding that we are all interconnected. It is present and available in the quantum field, and literally there is a presence and a power, a movement of spirit that draws us to that. And I want to specifically thank our glory singers who have been backup singers for so long to Unity of Portland. What a blessing. Do you know when the music was canceled, and I think you all came together yesterday. They heard it late Friday. They came together yesterday, some of you, and then this morning, and Joe Millward, we are so grateful. Yes, Marcy and Alan came together yesterday and said, of course we can do this. I had thought, we'll just do a service with no music, and I thought, boy, that's going to be a short one. Let's see what happens. And instead, both of you saying, of course we can. It just touches my heart because I realize that's what we're being asked to do right now in our lives. There's some place where it feels like there's no answer and no way forward and nothing that is coming all together. And it comes together from the very energy of love. Love is the only energy in this universe. It may not feel like it because sometimes we haven't been able to tie into it and breathe into it. But what I know is that the energy of love is healing us, holding us, and reminding us of who we are. And so we're going to begin this service in prayer. And I would just invite you, wherever you have not felt there was a way, wherever you have wondered, how do I move through here? Open your heart and know that there is a passage, there is a movement, and it guides us now. Oh, as we begin this service, Infinite Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we open to this understanding that there is a presence and a power within. We say, yes, move through me now. I understand. I grow. I am willing to know that I am a whole within a whole. And this universe guides me, reminds me of the truth of my being, and I, in turn, become that opening, that hand, that gathering of humanity as I allow love to move forth from me. We encircle this globe right now with that very energy of love. The attracting, healing, harmonizing energy of the universe lifts us, holds us, reminds us that we are on a sacred journey. And we simply say, here we are, Infinite Spirit. And so it is. Amen. And we are so blessed to have that opportunity to do that. Beth is coming up to do our announcements. I just want to say, Rumi said, only from the heart can you touch the sky. And today we are here to touch the sky. And I realize I moved it already.
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah, let's all take a deep breath. It's good to be here this morning. Well, this morning's daily word had a line in it that really spoke to me and spoke to what I wanted to talk about in our volunteer spotlight. You know, we're doing that on Sundays throughout the month of October. And it said, each of us communicate love in our unique ways. And boy, isn't that true? Today, we're talking about some behind-the-scenes people and the people who keep things running and some needs that we have for some behind-the-scenes people. So I want to start with honoring, and she doesn't, I'm going to do this, Cher Gilbert. Stand up just one second. Cher does all of our decorating of the sanctuary for our Sunday services. So she sneaks in here during the week when nobody's here but us and works her magic. And I also want to mention Sheila Botke, who's done our Christmas decorating for years too. She's done a beautiful job, and we certainly don't want to miss honoring her as well. I want to say that we've been streaming our services now for a year and a half. The whole first year, our prayer chaplains held this every Sunday. A different prayer chaplain would be on the stream, would engage with everybody who was watching the service virtually. Well, now our prayer chaplains have come back in-house. So they're holding the consciousness for us here at Unity of Portland every Sunday. They're here and available to pray with you following the services. And when I asked for a volunteer, I had one woman step forward. Her name is Andrea Robbins. Andrea, hi, she's on the Facebook stream this morning. We'll just wave to her. Anyway, she stepped forward, and she is there every week. Even when she's out of town, she pops in on the stream and says, hi, virtual family, I'm here. And anyway, I would love to find somebody to partner up with her so that she doesn't feel like she has to be there every Sunday. Wouldn't that be nice if she could have a Sunday off? Yeah, I think so too. So if you're interested, if you're sitting at home every week and watching the service on Facebook, give me a call this week and let's talk. Let's do that, yes. So anyway, the other couple of things we're looking for is we're looking for someone who has an interest in photography. I'm always looking for pictures of people from the Sunday services, from our coffee connection, pictures of Lisa that I can rotate on the newsletter. Y'all get tired of seeing the same old pictures of Lisa every week. So yeah, come on, and if you've got a hankering to do some photography, come and talk to me about that too. And I also want to make mention, if you're a Facebook poster or an Instagram poster, or maybe you know some stuff about a website, come and talk to me. We always need those behind the scenes people. And we appreciate each and everything that you guys bring to this spiritual family. It's very much appreciated. I want to make mention that next Sunday, after the Sunday service, around 1:30, we are going to be honoring and celebrating the life of our own Janet Clifton, who made her transition last week. So we invite all of you to come and share in this celebration. We ask that you continue to hold Charlie in your prayers. We're keeping him fed. We're sending him some food a couple times a week. And it'll just be a wonderful time together. 1:30 next week, it'll give you a minute to go get some lunch or bring a lunch and eat it, and then we'll join together back here in the sanctuary at 1:30. The youth ed are meeting every week. I know we don't see them. We're not bringing them in and bringing them up on Sunday mornings, but that's because they're not vaccinated yet, and we're trying to keep everybody safe. But Barbara's meeting downstairs in her little one-room classroom with these young people who are showing up on Sundays. Our YOU and our Uniteens are meeting in all kinds of creative ways. They meet outside, they go for walks, they paint messages on the sidewalks, they're doing all kinds of cool stuff. And I want to mention too, on Halloween Sunday, the 31st, is our family fun Halloween party, which is going to be during the service out in the garden. They're going to totally set it up. It's going to be a great time. So bring your young people in their costumes, wear their masks, and that goes for everybody. We're going to keep wearing our masks, right? Every week until we don't have to anymore. Not the scary ones, but the necessary ones. So there you go. I also want to say there's a few things coming up in November, along with a time change on November 7th. I don't know if you guys have that on your radar or not, but I put a lot of stuff at the bottom of that newsletter, so make sure you scroll all the way through and you're going all the way to the bottom, or you might miss something. We also have information on becoming a new member in the newsletter and also out on our table. And we're so happy you're here, however you show up. But we'd love for you to join our spiritual family. So consider doing that. And I think Lisa has a few words that she wants to say about membership this morning as well.
Yes, we always have questions. What's membership? Do you have to be a member? What does it mean? At Unity, membership's not required. It's actually a next step to me. It's a next step on our spiritual journey. It says, I'm here, I'm committed to growth, to being a part of something larger, to a coming together, and it's simply saying, I'm committed to my own spiritual work and healing my life along with the life of a community. So the how we do it, there's several different ways you can, and there's forms out on the tables there. If you're online, there's forms online under the membership and the classes that you can transfer your membership. Many people move here from other Unity churches. They do it that way. You can read a book. We have a book out in the entryway that you can just simply read it, and it's called The 5 Principles, and then you'll come to our new member orientation, which will be on Sunday, November 21st after the service. And you can also, and then we'll go through the steps of membership there. But if you don't want to do any of those, you can also attend on November 7th after the service. I'll just do a class that talks about the 5 principles of unity if you don't want to read the book. So basically, read a book. You can take a class if you've already taken one, or just come to that class. November 7th is the first one, and then the orientation is November 21st. So there's forms out there. You can sign up, and we look forward to having you a part if that's something that's important to you. All right, we want to take a moment and welcome all of our newcomers. If you're here for the first time or you haven't been here in a while, we want you to know that right where you are in your spiritual path, we honor you. We honor that every one of us is on this sacred journey, and it's important to find a place that serves us and that supports our journey. If you didn't get a new member packet when you came in, please get one when you go out. And also we encourage all of you, if you haven't filled out one of the green cards, they're in the backs of your chairs there, and you can fill that out. There's We actually have offering baskets by the doors. You can put them in there, or you can hand them to Beth, or you can even leave them up here if you want to. All right, we are going, and I wanted to say, if this community works for you, I would encourage that you become a part. What we know about quantum physics and some of the science behind this is that gathering together, we're here to build consciousness. And we, as humanity, we have to find ways to gather together and to create literally larger spaces in consciousness of ideas that will move humanity forward. Please be a part. If it doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to continue seeking. Find a place that does, and again, merge together and hold that sacred space. All right, and we're going to sing.
So everybody stand up. Come on, you can all stand up that can. And we're going to sing a song called We Let It Be, and it's not the Beatles song, just so you know. And also, before we start that, I want to just thank Joe. Joe got this music at 9:15 this morning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he had not practiced it. He hadn't done anything with it. And I just wanted to honor Anyway, I just wanted to say that because he's doing a fabulous job, and you'll even like it more as we get further along. So we're going to do We Let It Be. Maestro. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be.
Oh, yes, we do. How wonderful. I just invite you to allow your eyes, if you're in this room, in this space, to just look around the room and recognize that you are walking with creations of the infinite. And if you're in your homes, please know and allow yourself to look around your world in your mind and just know that we walk with each other on this sacred journey of evolving and remembering who we are along this way. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And as we move into a time of meditation, I want to read something to you. I've been working with it. You heard it last week. I've been working with Ilia Delio in her books on quantum physics and the work of Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. And I want to start with this before we move into meditation. But she writes, "We all have a part to play in this unfolding love. We are wholes within wholes, W-H-O-L-E, within wholes, W-H-O-L-E-S. Persons within persons, religions within religions. We are one body and we seek one mind and heart so that the whole may become more whole, more personal and unified in love. And as we move into a time of meditation, I just invite you to begin the process of allowing the vibrational knowing. It's a cellular knowing. I am whole within a whole. There's nothing missing within who we are. There's nothing lacking. I am a whole within a whole as we truly remember who we are. You guys ready?
I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am.
Remembering who I am. As we relax our bodies, quiet our minds, and allow ourselves to continue turning within. I am remembering who I am. I relax in to a deeper awareness. I am a whole. WHOLE. I am a whole within a whole. I am that I am. I allow this awareness to move throughout my body. I breathe it in. I breathe it out. I am in the silence. As my life journey continues to be one of remembering the wholeness within, the vibration of I am that I am reminds me that I am love. I am gratitude. I am. And as I allow this knowing to vibrate as me this day, I am so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
I am remembering who I am. 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 For everything there is a season. For every season a plan. For plan there is a reason. That time will help us understand. There's time to learn, a time to grow, and pass things on even as we go. A time to keep, a time to give, a time to love, a time to live. For everything there is a season. For every season a plan. For every plan there is a reason. That time will help us understand. There's a time for sadness, a time for pain, a time to find happiness again. A time for joy, a time for peace, a time for life to be complete. For everything there is a season. For every season a plan. For every plan there is a reason. That time will help us understand. For everything there is a season. For every season a plan. For every plan there is a reason.
Thank you, thank you. I am so grateful. And oh, those words are so true. For everything there is a season. For every season there is a plan. For every plan there is a reason. That time will help us understand. Anybody working to understand anything in your life right now? We have a few people. Are we working to understand what is happening? What is this process? What is this journey? I believe as we walk the spiritual journey, and I am fully committed to the understanding that every one of us is on a spiritual journey. We can say no. We can look at the world outside of us and say, this isn't right. But there are no mistakes in this universe. There is a universal quantum field that we live and move and have our being in. And by the way, one of my teenagers said, do you say that every day? Because, of course, somehow it had to do with cleaning the kitchen, and that I didn't understand what was happening. And, of course, she looks at me and just says, okay, Mom, we've heard that. But this idea that we are on a spiritual journey, and the universe has both the information within it, and it has the expression, the code for that expression already within it. It's already there. And it's actually pulling us to it. But we can also look at the world around us and say, this is crazy. This is not working. I don't like this. This could destroy us. How are we ever going to get past here? And we can make that our world. And somehow, what we're being called to do, especially right now, is to go allow a larger view, allow a larger understanding, even when all of the pieces that we think are required don't appear to be there. We may not understand what that is, but it's there. And you know, in the book we've been using, and I have to say, my nice yellow cover is now gone. It has dog teeth in it and a few other things. So just in case those of you who don't, I usually show the nice yellow book. Well, now mine's down to green. And there are only a few teeth marks in this one. So that's good. You know, that's how right now I'm looking at things. And this morning as I was walking out the door, I'm like, where's my mask? And I look, and there's this 105-pound Labradane with this little thing hanging off its teeth. And I was like, okay, that one's a little wet. I guess we'll try and find another one. And so we go back to the paper ones. You know, that's just life sometimes. But Panache Desai, he says in this whole idea, he says, life will always bring you the circumstances you need in order to move into your highest expression. Your job is to run towards the experience. Now, I want you to think about that. Our job is to run toward the experience. How many of us have been running towards life right now, towards what's happening? I mean, we have some who are. That is good. And there are no right or wrong answers. It's a question of our hearts. Because it takes courage to both say, I can't go any further, and love ourselves. And it takes courage to run towards that experience, whatever it is. I mentioned the experience with the musicians this week, and it's fascinating because many of you know last summer as Reverend Sydney moved on and began looking as to where she was going, and we downsized because of finances and because of the pandemic. After having 15 years of a fabulous music director, it shifted, and I began scheduling musicians. And when one canceled, and please hold Susan and Mark and their family in your prayers as they move through their really tough life journey. I just thought, I'll just call all these people and someone will say yes and we'll be fine and we'll just go on to that. And that didn't happen. Everybody's busy. And so then I was like, okay, God, we'll do this, we'll do that. And do you know, it's fascinating because it takes something in there. Like when I contacted Joe, and I said, Joe, so you haven't been here much. I know you've played for LaRonda and a couple other things. Are you open this Sunday? For what? Well, for, and then Alan, calling Alan and talking to Alan. He said, of course we can do this. Of course we will. And I'll do this part, and I'll contact Marcy. And it's a coming together. Now, that looks like a little piece. What was fascinating in this whole experience, because I've been really working with this idea of running towards it, is that we're also working on the computer systems within the church, because they're connected and they've been not working properly. And so we got it all fixed and changed over. Only we didn't realize that evidently all of my documents were under a former admin's email. And when that was shut down, I opened my message last night at 7:30, and it was gone. Well, let's put it this way. 16 of the 17 pages were gone. I had 3 lines left. And I just went, run towards the experience. That was not what I was thinking. My daughter comes in and she goes, Mom, I need your help. You have to do this for me. I was like, okay, we're just going to breathe. And by the way, breathing has become my prayer. Breathing and this idea. In fact, if you go to Hawaii and they call you a haole, which means not local, it means without breath. It means we haven't taken the time. Haoles would come into churches and they'd say, I pray without breath. There I am, God, you do something, goodbye, and we're gone. Life is calling us to live with breath. To live with an understanding and a vision that there's something more here that we don't even always see or know. But as we move toward it, something comes together. And what I experienced as we went through some of these pieces, and I went back and said, well, we're doing this differently. We're going to do it this way. We'll do this. We'll do that. And as we keep breathing, we actually rewire our brains to the breath. And there's space enough to think what's happening. Because we talk a lot about the bigger picture. But I want us to keep understanding there is a bigger picture. And today I want to talk about a couple different things. One is our essential self. The message is about we have to claim our essential self. And this time in history, I believe, is designed just for that. It doesn't look like it at all. It looks like it's a time of just battles and war and systems breaking down and our lives not being where we want them to and all these different pieces. But there's something happening, and it's enlarging, and it's there, and it's present. And so there is a growth that's happening underneath it all, and there is an invitation for us to claim the truth of who we are. So I want to start with Panache Desai, and I may not be saying his name right, which would not be unusual. I'm really working on some of these. But he starts in the chapters we're doing, and we're in the fourth of an 8-week series, and this is just called The Essential Self. Your essential self is vast. It is pure consciousness, universal awareness, and it is the foundation of all expression, creativity, and expansion in this world. It is you in your most unadulterated form. You entered this world with this essential innocence and purity, but life's events have distanced and covered over the core foundation of your being. You have forgotten the essential you. What if your whole life journey is an invitation to evolve by claiming your essential self? That means when our brains get to where they're fried, they're frustrated, there's nothing to do, that we begin creating the practices and using the tools that allow us to say, there's a bigger picture here. And within that, I'm a part. I'm a whole within the whole of the universe, and there's something more happening here. And he says, when you forget, you do something very curious. You experience your mind thinking, your feelings arising, and your body functioning, and you conclude that those aspects of your experience are the totality of who you are. I can see this. This isn't working the way I want it to. This should not be happening. This is wrong, and that's the way it is. And we think that's what our life is. You say, I'm fat, I'm depressed, I'm poor, broken, and hopeless. I'm angry or I'm stupid, as if you are the thought, the feeling, the situation, or the body part. But those are misidentifications, ones that cause unnecessary pain, and they perpetuate limitations. You have been conditioned to overly identify with your mind and body, and the conditioning has imprisoned your being. We have forgotten that the soul of who we are, the essence of who we are, is interconnected with every being, and we are on a sacred path of connecting in consciousness with all that is around us. It's a coming together. And we usually can't see it. We can say, look, I don't have any friends. These people make fun of me. I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that. And then we feel like that's who we are, and that's all our life is. Anybody felt that this week? I can say there are times I'm like, this is where it is. And we are being called to enlarge our understanding. So if we're going to claim our essential self, we have to recognize, first of all, that we were created with an essential self, a soul, a light. Every spiritual tradition on this planet speaks of it. You can see it. When a baby's born, you cannot tell me there's not pure light in there. But then the universe says, oh, this and this and this. And so we start to believe it. And he said, until your mental desires are aligned with the power of being, they cannot come into existence. Because we have to find a way to do, he calls it realigning with our soul. We have to recognize. And I know growing up in Unity, I was always told every human being is spirit, soul, and body. We do have this outer form. We've said yes to them. Sometimes I said, interesting choice. Tell me more. I'd like it to be this way or this way or this way. But this isn't who I am. We're the observer. We're the soul that still questions. When life falls to nothing, there's still the truth of who we are, even when we have the audacity to say, you're not enough, you're not this, you're not that. And we've been trained to do that. Now's the time to shift that. But what do we shift it to? We're shifting it to an understanding that the truth of who I am is connected to the field of intelligence. I also grew up hearing, and today is the 1-year anniversary of the movement of my mother from this earth life. And I look at some of the teachings that I learned and some of the hardest things I went through, and all of it was designed to teach me and show me. But I grew up hearing this idea that the divine mind of the universe, which is the universal intelligence, that through my mind, heart, through this essence of who I am, is how I connect. In meditation, in listening, in truly listening for periods of time. The universe speaks through us. It does remind us of who we are. And also, I want us to really understand some of the quantum physics related to this, because at the same time, we're beginning to say, I'm willing to claim this essential self. I'm willing to believe that's the truth of who I am. I don't know about you, but it doesn't show up right away. Anybody asked to be healed and want it yesterday? Or at least this minute? We want, it's like, I want to come in and I want to show everybody you can do anything, and then have anything happen perfectly. And yet that's not actually how that journey goes. Every day as I work with my beautiful daughters, I work to help them understand that as you heal a life, as you heal the things that made you believe something less, and I work with myself in the same way, please hear me. But for kids who were adopted in Russia and were starving at birth, there's often layers that have to come off. But we want it right then, and we think it'll never work. The truth is, it's the breath that's 2 seconds longer this time. It's the breath that's 4 seconds longer this time. And the next time it's not even there. But then it goes back to 4 seconds, or it goes back to 2 seconds. It's the courage to take the journey, to heal the things, because we are not our traumas. The spirit, the soul has never been touched by any of your traumas, not one. And what we call a trauma, we have to listen to it. I learn so much all the time. If you knew how many classes I've taken and continue to take, and how little I know and how much I'm willing to learn on this idea of how our brains respond, what I do know is that trauma teaches strength. And we may have our strength put in a way that doesn't serve us or grow us, but we have that same amount of strength that will teach us something vital and alive as we begin to move and shift. And so the quantum physics of it all, and this is one piece I love this idea. You may not have grown up hearing about radial energy and tangential energy. I did. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, in his work on evolution, said there's 2 types of energy. And in a moment, I'm going to have to go to my notes because I can't say that I can recite it all. And he said, our math only takes in 1 type of energy. And all of the things work when you go to the 0-point energy field and you count them in, then quantum physics works. And that is what connects us to everything else. But there's also another type. And so let me move into that. And he says, each individual element has 2 distinct components: a tangential energy, making the element interdependent with all elements of the same order in the universe as itself. You could call it the bonding energy. You were not taught that as a child, that you are one with the universe, probably. But the truth is you are, and you are always connected. It's a mathematic fact. It is always together. And he said there's a radial energy, attracting the element in the direction of an ever more complex and centered state toward what is ahead, which is, he called it psychic or conscious energy. So the tangential is what we will look at in quantum physics. It connects us all. Science hasn't figured out what to do with the radial energy, which is the attracting energy of the universe. It is attracting and creating something new. So right when you're at your lowest, and we're in a pandemic, and it looks like democracy might be falling apart, and these things are falling apart, and believe me, we have to stand for what we believe. I know that totally. Right now, this weekend, I know that the Parliament of World Religions is holding their conference virtually. SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, held their anniversary and their restarting of so much of these movement and these ideas within civil rights. They held theirs this weekend. The indigenous, I don't even remember the name, they were being held. There are things being held all over. But there is an energy that no matter what, even when you are at the bottom and say, I can go no further, there is a drawing energy of the universe that is drawing us both together in consciousness and towards that which is to be created as the next evolutionary step. It's already there. And one of the ways, I mean, do we realize that? Because when we say, that's it, I can't go any farther, this isn't going to work, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have this, or I don't have that, we aren't looking at this energy of the universe that is actually supporting us and pulling us. Brian Swimme says it's a lot like how stars are formed. And they can't describe, they can't say, how does this work? Now, of course, he takes into account Teilhard's idea of the radial energy, and he said, that's what happens in all of our lives. That's what happens in the universe. Have you ever looked back at your life and thought, oh, I know how I got from here to here to here to here? It's there. It's pulling us forward. Sometimes we do really good at saying, not me, I'm not, and we might add the words enough, or I'm not qualified, or it's not going to, the universe isn't going to support. We can do all of that. We will still get to love. One way or another, we will find that journey. But I want to read to you. He said, he describes the birth of a star, and he said it reflects this mysterious, attractive force of gravity. And they call it, Charles Fillmore in 1905, I think it was, started saying, gravity is more than we realize. There is an attracting force that holds the whole universe together. Quantum physicists are now saying this radial energy, they don't know what to call it, but it has this pulling quality. And so he says, this is how stars are formed. And this was from his book, The Universe is a Green Dragon, a Cosmic Creation Story. He said, imagine a vast dark cloud of hydrogen atoms stretching through millions of miles of space. Each of these trillions upon trillions of atoms is involved in an attracting activity for all the rest and slowly begins to move. A common center emerges, and the hydrogen atoms begin to clump together. The growing pressure from the gravitational attraction enables the hydrogen atoms to fuse into helium atoms. So they're actually there's a changing of a form here. And they say, wait a minute, we don't understand how this happens. Thus releasing their hidden energy in a vast profusion of light emanating in all directions. The core of the star ignites at this point. All of this activity is the result of the cosmic allurement of the radial energy. The pulling energy gradually even changes form, and this star is created. How many stars are in the sky? Every one of us has come together as that star, and your life, my life, our lives together right now, there is this same pull that is creating something in your journey. It's creating something even as we say, I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to go. Or we say, this happened to me. I can never find something higher because of it. And I want to say the journey we're on is sacred. It's perfect. And there is an answer and a lesson for every one of us that I can't say I know what it is. But I can say I know that we have the ability to move it forward and to sit in it, to breathe in it, to allow it to move us and to hold us. And yet we have to be willing to know this. So we have to identify with our soul, identify with the light. I am adding, we have to breathe. And I'd invite you to be really happy with 5 seconds. We're not asking for a change. Those stars are created over so much time. They didn't even realize originally that there was something attracting this matter together. And what Brian Swimme is saying, and Ilia Delio in her book, The Unbearable Wholeness of Being, which is the one I'm using right now, and I'm having to take really small pieces because I have to keep looking at this. But something's happening, and it's been happening over time. And people come together and gather in these ideas. And you read of the young girl in Africa who has been going village to village to village. She started in Kenya, talking with girls her age, which is 14, about, no, you don't have to be cut. No, you don't have to be held out of school. You're more than that. And for some reason, these kids are gathering together, and they're following her, and they're looking and saying, wait a minute, there's something more. Everything that's happening in your life, you can say, this is it, But the truth is, there's already an attracting. That event is being used for something higher and something higher and something higher, and you're a part of the evolutionary plan of the universe. And I want to share one of the stories that happened this week. So many things are going on, but one of them that did happen this week was the passing of, let me say, I was trying to get his actual name. Eddie Jaku is what he was called later in life. His name was Abraham Jakubowicz, and he survived the Holocaust. But his story, he died at 101. But his story was so fascinating because I thought he took what was present in his life and he ran toward it even though he felt it could destroy him. And one of the best things you can do is his TED Talk, and that was when he was 99 years old. Last year, he published his book called The Happiest Man on Earth. Now, that brings tears to my eyes because I don't know how many of us have said, I'm not happy because of this or this or this. And I look at that soul and I think somewhere in there, he had to see a bigger picture than was present right then. But he started out this TED Talk, and I lost this too, and I just went back and redid it, and Leah said, are we going to hear him again? And many of you know that's my 22-year-old autistic daughter, and I said, we are. And she goes, we're going to know him by heart, aren't we? And I was like, yes, we are. And he's going to teach me everything I need to know right now about being grateful and happy. And but he was in Sydney, Australia, 99 years old. And he started by saying, greetings, new friends. Now, there's 6,000 people sitting in that audience. And he just looked around the room because he saw individuals that traveled with him. And he said, I'm standing before you as a survivor of the Holocaust and the witness of the most tragic of times. And he goes through some of it. He was in 4 concentration camps. And he went through just some of the pieces. He lost his family. I believe one family member of many survived. But he said, this was so difficult for me and he came home, he saw his house burnt. He was sent to a boarding school before the Holocaust started. And he said, I saw things that made me not even human. I lost everything that day as the Nazis came and the night of terror. And he said, I lost everything I lived for, and I was reduced from a man to being nothing. And somehow in humanity right now, we're finding person after person after person, people, groups of people, that for some reason that's been done. And there's many of us sitting here today who have had that question, am I anything? Do I matter? This is a universal question that's being asked. And he said, I hid, at the end he was in Auschwitz, and he was on one of the death marches. And he said, I wasn't expected to live, but something helped me escape. And he lived in the forest by himself for months. And then gradually with typhoid and cholera, he drug himself through the forest up to a road, and an American serviceman found him. And they took him in, and he said, he didn't talk much in there, but he does in some of his other pieces about the anger that came up. And the part of him, he said, I stand before you today as a happy man, but I was not a happy man when I first got out. And he spoke of the hate and the things. And then he said, today, I do not hate anyone. Hate is a disease. And while it may destroy your enemy, it will also destroy you in the process. Instead, I'm doing my best to make this world a better place for everyone. And I implore you to do your best. And he said in 1945, when they finally sent him to Belgium, no papers, nothing, and he was just told, restart your life. He said there was a lot of time when it was hard to restart a life. It was hard to go through. And he said, I didn't want to be around people. I had too many scars. And then he goes into this idea that he said, and then my heart opened again. And for him, it was he got married, and he said, even then, I wasn't happy. I didn't want to be with people. But then the birth of his son, he realized that if he didn't make a change, his son's life would be so different. And he said, I promised myself And I just thought this was interesting. I promised myself to live the rest of my life happy, to smile, be polite, helpful, and kind. And he said, today I stand in front of you as a man who has kept those promises. And I can't imagine keeping those promises in the midst of that. And I'm not saying we don't need to go through and pull all the stuff out and work with it. But he said, and then I decided to do more. And he said, I taught happiness, kindness to the world around me. And he went on to say he had to learn that people, and he doesn't do it in this, he does it in some of his other pieces, he had to learn that people were good. He had to learn to make friends. He had to relearn to trust that people would support him and be with him after what he'd seen. And he said, today I wonder how people exist without friendship, without people to share good fortune or sad losses, how to share themselves. And he just kept going on, and I kept looking at that. I thought, what does it take for a soul to heal from the worst thing that's happened and to say, today I'm more than this. Today I'm more than my wounds. Today I'm more than I could ever think. And he said he committed the rest of his life to teaching. And he actually taught at the Holocaust Center in Belgium up until the pandemic started. And then he had to stop. So at 99, at 100, he had to stop. And I look at life and I think, how many things have I thought, I can't do this because I'm not enough? Somewhere in all of this, his soul found its essential self and said, I'm enough. You have that same soul. I have that same soul. We have that same soul. And when we have the courage over all of the pieces of our lives to say, I'm enough to love, then we have the ability to create a world that touches and comes together. I just invite you to know you are the light, and you're here to share that light. Thank you. And as we do that, somewhere in here, we are just going to receive our tithes and our love offerings. You know, the idea of enough, when we begin recognizing there's a larger plan for humanity, that plan is enough. There are enough resources, even though we've misused many of them, and we have to learn a new way. We're already being drawn into the answer if we will get quiet and listen and know we're a part. And so as we hold that space of knowing there's enough, and Lynn Twist in her book, The Soul of Money, speaks of why there's hunger, that hunger is the result of our believing in lack, in not enough, and it shows up as humanity uses it, and how we create our systems that are based on competition and who's worthy and all of these pieces, but all of it comes down to believing that there isn't enough. And so I'd invite us right here in this room to just begin holding the idea of enough. And let's put up this slide. You are welcome to give by, and I didn't do it earlier, to go online to unityofportland.org, and under ways to give, under Facebook, there's a use app button. You can text, and this is where the change was. You can text all lowercase Unity of Portland to the number 833-814-3477, and of course always send in your check. But that 833-814-3477 is the part that allows you to be a part electronically of giving and of being a part in this community. And as we continue holding that space on this planet, there is a new economy again that is gathering just like the stars. The basis we can't see, but it's all gathering as we gather in these larger ideas. And so I'm going to say our blessing. We can do it together if you want, but let's look at this idea. Divine love as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And let's make that firm. I want to hear it literally through your being. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We are the movement of the energy of the universe, the movement of love. And so it is. Amen.
Okay. So why don't we all stand up for this particular song, because it's got some interactive parts to it.
All right, so we're a part of it all. Okay.
Well, you're part of it.
Yes. Oh, okay. You're going to tell us which part?
Well, yeah. You know what? They'll probably figure it out on their own.
Okay. Sounds good.
And it's called I'm So Grateful. Most of you know this song. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate all of you for stepping in and holding that space. In just a moment, we're going to sing our peace song, which again, Unity communities have been doing this for decades and decades. I believe that is concentrated consciousness. Everything we say, everything we do in our lives is a part of concentrating that energy and that consciousness. And so as we sing this together, I just invite you to allow your thoughts to go around the globe and to know that right now, right where we are, there is enough for anchoring the consciousness of honoring every being, everywhere, with enough. All right, we are going to do Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be the joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Oh, yes. Yes, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And as we remember, we are wholes within a whole. I'd invite you to share it with one other person this week that you see that may not remember they are that whole. We are the wholes, remembering the wholeness that there is. And let's close with our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we are so blessed. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Thank you all.